Welcome back to center mass operations. This period of instruction is going to be over stance. We're going to be teaching it with the AR-15. Now, there's 4 different positions that we can fire the AR from. We can fire from the prone, the sitting, the kneeling, and standing or offhand. The hardest of the 4 is obviously offhand because the other 3 positions the weapon is supported. We have to understand that when we're shooting offhand, the weapon is going to be unsupported unless we can find a way to support the weapon. So I'm going to show you from a couple different angles, proper way to hold the AR-15. There's 2 ways to support, one by muscle or strength and the other by structure. And what I mean by that is if I hold the weapon here, I'm supporting the weapon with the strength of my non-firing arm. Okay, so basically, I'm using strength to hold the weapon here. Or I can reposition my hand and move it here, which does 2 things. Number 1, this is the balance point of the weapon. So I have half the weight, which means my arm is not going to fatigue near as quickly. And then when I place the weapon in my shoulder, I can take this arm and drop it into my body. When I do that, I have created a support system to keep that weapon quite a bit more stable than if I was standing or had my hand out here. There's another thing is by holding the weapon here and supporting it with strength, when that arm fatigues, it has a tendency to create a wobble. By supporting it with structure, my arm's not going to fatigue as fast, and it's going to allow me to fire my rounds more accurately. The second thing is, if we have our natural point of aim, which what I teach is to use that lead shoulder, point that at your target. When I place the weapon here, if you notice, the weapon is in tight against my body. So not only do I have support coming down on my arm, but it's actually pushed up against my body. And if I control my breathing properly, when I fire and recover, the weapon is going to come right back down. And you can literally fire a shot without even looking at the target, because as long as you have an approximation about where that weapon is on that target, you know the weapon is going to come back down and cover the target. All you have to do is squeeze the trigger. If I come back here, if I hold the weapon, if you notice, I have a gap. When I support the weapon, I close that gap.